Welcome to Story Tales. Please like this video and subscribe to Story Tales. I hope you enjoy the story. Let's begin. My father threw some papers on the table and grumbled, "You've got 48 hours to get out of here. The house is Lily's now." I just smiled and nodded. But when my little sister crossed the threshold of her brand new dwelling, she realized this was the stupidest move of her life. My name is Nick. I'm 31, and I'm that eldest son who fixes everything. If a pipe starts hissing at 2 a.m., I'm already running with a wrench. If someone needs to be picked up from the airport, I'm already on my way with a thermos of coffee. I work as a biomedical equipment technician at County General Hospital. I pay the bills and try to keep my head down. I rent the ground floor of my parents' duplex, which I practically rebuilt from scratch after flooding 2 years ago. My sister Lily is 27. She's one of those people who starts everything and quits. Blonde hair, grandiose plans, new ones every month. She speaks with certainty, but by the middle of a sentence, she's already bored. And for some reason, it's always me who has to finish what she started. I used to think this was love. Now I understand it was conditioning. In childhood, Lily got the leading roles in school plays. I got to work the lights and hall scenery. At 18, Lily bought a used Honda Civic. Our parents helped with the down payment. I got a lecture about how I needed to earn my own money. Lily learned she was special. I learned I was a workhorse. And a workhorse is like a foundation. You can't see it, but everything rests on it. I remember being 9, standing with my father at Home Depot while he chose bolts. He said, "Men don't complain. They pull their weight and keep quiet." I thought this was a badge of honor. Turns out it was a yoke. After community college, I didn't go anywhere. It wasn't a plan, more like a habit. Grandpa left the house to my father for the family. The upper unit needed major renovation. The ground floor was habitable, but damp and shabby. I told my father I'd stay, do the repairs, and pay rent, help with utilities. He grunted something approving. I learned to hang drywall from YouTube videos. Replaced outlets, figured out the breaker box. Wrote everything down in a notebook, date, cost, hours. Each repair helped me feel like a person, not a free handyman. Lily flew in and out. Not bad. She'd toss out, grabbing my food from the fridge. Mom stroked my head. She's still young. And then she'd call, "Nikki, we need to pay the gas bill. Can you Venmo $500? Your father's paycheck is delayed." If my life had a soundtrack, it would be the hum of an old refrigerator and the creak of floorboards. Everything was tolerable. It was just little. I convinced myself that little meant stable. On a Tuesday evening in May, I went upstairs to return a key to my father. The kitchen smelled of bleach. Lily sat at the table with Mom, scrolling through her phone. Dad stood by the window with some envelope. "The outlet in the hallway is ready," I said. Dad nodded, looked at my hands, then at my face. "Sit down." I sat. Lily didn't look up. Mom fiddled with the edge of the placemat. Dad pulled out papers with notary stamps and placed them in front of me. "So, here's the thing," he began in his manager's tone. "You've got 48 hours to pack your stuff. The house has been deeded to Lily. Of course, legally we should go through eviction proceedings, but you're not going to take your own family to court. Would look bad." The words hit me in the gut. Lily finally looked up, smiled crookedly. "Nothing personal, big brother. Just life." I looked at the papers, then at Dad's hands, rough and like mine. Something inside me broke and fixed itself at the same time. I smiled, nodded, understood. Everyone froze. The refrigerator hummed louder. Mom said quietly, "It's high time you lived independently." She said it and didn't believe it herself. 48 hours, Dad repeated. I carefully placed the key on the table and left without a word. It all started not with these papers. It started years ago when helping family became a tribute. After community college, I got a job at the hospital, moved to the ground floor, paid my parents $1,000 a month for housing. On the market, such a place would rent for $2,000. I told myself, I'm saving money. At first, the money went to utilities, then the requests began. Mom would call, "Son, we got the property tax bill. Can you send $700? Dad, through her, "The roofer needs a $1,500 deposit." I transferred on Cash App, didn't keep receipts. Why would I? We're family, Lily changed jobs like gloves. Now working at Sephora, now a coordinator at an event planning company that folded after a month, now a photographer's assistant paid in exposure. She'd show up with suitcases. Can I crash at your place for a week? A week stretched into months. You're a lifesaver, Mom would say, giving Lily spare keys. Once I loaned my sister $5,000 for cosmetology school. She promised to return it with her first paycheck, then after New Year. Then stopped responding to questions about it. I waved it off. What could you expect from her? The house was old, but I brought it up to code. After the flooding, I stripped the water-damaged drywall myself, threw out the ruined hardwood. When an inspector from the city came threatening fines, I ran around proving it was an act of God. I knew everyone at the lumberyard by name. I became that reliable Nick. Dad would sometimes talk about the future of the house. This is our legacy, he'd say. I once asked, what happens later when you and Mom retire? He waved it off. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Such answers left a heaviness in my stomach that in February, we buried his Marine buddy. Dad came back silent, started sorting through documents. I saw a folder labeled property deed on the table. Documents. I was on alert. Everything okay? I asked. Putting things in order, he grunted. In March, Lily brought home her boyfriend Tyler, in designer clothes, with talk about personal branding and influencer marketing. At dinner, he didn't let go of his phone. Dad looked at him like a future millionaire son-in-law. Mom admired his entrepreneurial spirit. I watched him order prime rib and Caesar salad, photograph it for Instagram, and not touch it. My jaw clenched that in April, the help became outright robbery. Dad called personally. Rare. Home insurance went up. Need to split it. I was the only one splitting. I transferred $2,500. Got good man in response. That month we had a major fight. Lily wanted the upper unit for studio space. Suggested I move into the basement. Mom coaxed. What's it cost you? And Dad cut in. There's room for everyone. I said, I live here too. By the way, silence hung. 2 weeks before the papers, Lily came down while I was patching a crack in the wall. After the wedding, we'll move out, I promise. Tyler has a startup. What startup? Event planning app. We're launching one. With what money? She snorted. You don't understand business. But the main blow wasn't the papers. It was Mom's words in the car when I was driving her to the doctor. She sighed. You're independent. But Lily? She needs support. As if I were made of steel and she were porcelain. The documents turn out to be simple. Quitclaim deed. Dad transferred the house to his daughter. They registered it a week ago, and I got a notice to vacate, as if I were a stranger. A friend of Dad's, a real estate attorney, drew it up. They chose Tuesday specifically to avoid unnecessary drama. That night, I sat over my records. $38,000 on materials over 4 years. Plus labor, if calculated at contractor rates, $150 per hour. Plus rent, 5 years without missing a payment. I leafed through the notebook and felt emptiness, then thought about the house as a living being that I'd nursed back to health. Fed, healed, warmed, and now it wasn't mine that I called Dad. He didn't answer. Texted Lily. Can we talk tomorrow? She replied immediately. Busy. Tyler sent a thumbs-up emoji that I didn't sleep. Made coffee at 3 a.m. and canceled my Netflix subscription, like a man preparing for a long journey. Photographed the hallway I'd painted. Ran my palm along the banister I'd sanded smooth. For a second, I felt pride, then resentment, then anger, then a strange calm, like after a fight when it's all over. In the morning, Dad knocked and entered without asking, as always. We'll help you pack, he grunted. Don't touch anything. I replied. He flinched as if I'd cursed him out. Nodded and left. The clock was ticking. They scheduled a family meeting for Saturday. Lily wanted to discuss details, said it in a manager's tone. Mom baked apple pie, my favorite since childhood. Dad wore that button down for serious conversations. I came in work jeans with traces of joint compound. Like armor, we gathered in the living room I'd repainted twice. First the tan didn't work, then beige. Lily held a folder with color tabs. Tyler sprawled on the sofa, ankle on knee. So, Lily clapped her hands. Let's keep this simple. You stay as a tenant, pay like before, until we renovate upstairs. Then market rate. Dad nodded. Mom added, that's fair. I looked at the apple pie. Remember how last month Lily brought her friends for girls' night to my place while I was working overnight? I came back to wine stains on the couch and cigarette ash in the sink. Don't freak out. I'll clean up, she said. She didn't. No, I said, silence. The refrigerator hummed louder. Lily laughed nervously. What do you mean, no? I mean, enough taking advantage of me. Enough draining me dry and then hiking up the rent. And kicking me out in 2 days. That's illegal. Dad growled. The decision is made. Don't make this difficult. I'm stating facts. I pulled out a folder. Lease agreement, receipts, messages. I have a written lease until December. Legally binding. Check it. Tyler smirked. Family renting to family. That's cute. This isn't family. I interrupted. It's a contract. Remember, Dad? You set up the LLC for tax purposes. Your attorney buddy drafted the lease. You signed as landlord. I signed as tenant. Auto-renewal clause is in there. Termination requires 30 days written notice. An eviction only through court. State landlord-tenant law. Mom went pale. Lily grimaced. Tyler grabbed his phone to Google it. I don't want to fight, I continued calmly. But taking away my home and years of work, hiding behind family, that's wrong. I laid out receipts on the table. Materials $38,000. Here are the Home Depot receipts. Transfers for property tax, insurance, repairs, another $50,000. Here are screenshots from my bank. Your texts. Can you help out? Need money urgently. I helped. It was help. Now it's debt. Dad jumped up. You're treating family like a business transaction. I stood too. No, I'm just done being taken for granted. Lily pointed her finger. You're jealous. Dad chose me. That's why you're pissed. What's jealousy got to do with it? I said wearily. I'm just tired. You're adults. Want the house. Fine, but without me. I'm not your ATM. Not a free contractor. Not an eternal debt slave. Tyler started something about family obligations. I raised my hand. Stop. Want me to leave? Follow the law. Want to communicate? Only in writing. That's it. Period. Dad barked. We raised you until 18. That's your legal obligation as parents. I shot back. And I've already paid back 6 figures. With interest. Mom sobbed. Nikki, what are you doing? I looked at her, a lump in my throat. Mom, I love you. But love isn't a license to exploit me. Lily changed tactics. Okay, let's be reasonable. Market is $2,500. We'll charge you $2,000. I pay $1,000. I reminded her, and I put more into this house than all of you combined. Want market rate? Reimburse me for the renovations. Check any contractor's pricing. Tyler snorted. We'll hire people, no problem. Go ahead, I nodded. Just warn them. The main water line behind the drywall is corroded. I scoped it, cracks along the whole run. It'll burst at the first serious pressure surge. The main shutoff valve is seized. You need to tap it with a hammer and a wood block. Any plumber will tell you. If it floods into the street, the city will bill you at least $20,000. I paused, savoring their faces. The bathroom exhaust upstairs is vented into the attic instead of outside. Code violation. City will fine you $1,000 to $4,000. That's if you settle. The breaker panel has no GFCI protection. First short circuit, and you're calling the fire department. The water meter is past its certification date by 2 years. Another violation. The stair railing. Remember? I installed it. Without maintenance, it wobbles. The wall anchors need retightening monthly with a specific torque wrench. What size? I forget. Sorry. Lily opened and closed her mouth. Dad wiped his forehead. You sabotaged it. Lily squeezed out. No, I shook my head. I just won't be giving free consulting anymore. As they say, you're on your own now. Dad hissed. Who do you think you are? A tenant with a legal lease? I answered. And as a son? The question hung in the air. Heavy. Being a son doesn't mean being powerless, Dad. I'm tired of being convenient. That's it. I took the folder, didn't even glance at the apple pie. Went down to my place, closed the door. For the first time in my life, I locked it from the inside. .my phone exploded half an hour later. 9 calls from Dad, 6 from Mom, 4 from Lily, 2 from unknown numbers. I silenced it, microwaved some leftovers, ate slowly, like a man who had nowhere to rush. At 8:12 p.m. Lily texted, "Okay, you can stay until end of July. Rent $1,800. At 8:40 p.m. Dad, come to your senses before it's too late. At 9:15 p.m. Mom, son, you're not a stranger to us. At 9:17 p.m., Mom again, where's the garage door opener? I photographed the opener on the shelf for posterity. In the morning, I sent an official response via email. Lease agreement valid until December 31st. Vacating July 31st voluntarily. Rent unchanged, $1,000. All future communication in writing only. I calculated expenses. U-Haul $400, movers $200. New apartment, deposit $1,500 plus, first month $1,500. Total $3,600. I had it. Put the couch on Craigslist for $300. Steve came in an hour, complained it was heavy. Quality construction. I said that on Wednesday, someone rang the doorbell. Building inspector, routine inspection. Checked documents with me, then went to the owners upstairs. 15 minutes later, I heard stomping, shouting. The inspector came down with a stone face. Exhaust venting in violation of building code. Railing not to spec. Water meter passed certification. Citation with 15-day compliance deadline. Handed Dad a notice and left. Upstairs it thundered. Lily's voice. Dad, what the? Tyler tried to calm her. Easy, we'll handle it. Dad grumbled. Always something with this place. I finished my coffee and turned up my music. Let them know I'm still here and not going anywhere fast. At noon, a text came from Lily. Need you to meet the inspector next week. You know where everything is. I replied briefly. Hire a contractor. I don't work here anymore. 2 minutes later, another text. But you're right downstairs. I wrote back. Living nearby and being responsible for maintenance are different things. Then the requests poured in. Mom called with the usual. Nikki, can you help with $500 for the gas bill? Your father's commission got delayed. This commission had been delayed for the 3rd month running. I texted 2 words. Sorry, can't. At first they burned inside, but then it became much easier. I looked at a studio above a nail salon downtown. The landlord, Barbara, a woman about 60 with sharp eyes, said matter-of-factly. Not fancy, but quiet. Downstairs closes at 7, then dead silent. The windows faced the parking lot, smelled of acetone and something else familiar. $1,800 a month. First and last, no negotiation. I'll take it, I said without hesitation. Paid the deposit by check. I returned to the duplex. At the driveway stood Lily with Tyler and an unfamiliar contractor examining the siding. We'll open up this wall, create an open concept layout, my sister commanded, gesturing dramatically. The contractor shook his head doubtfully. That might be load-bearing. Need to get structural drawings, otherwise you'll have real problems. At 3 o'clock, he knocked on my door. Hey man, can you show me where the water main shutoff is? I showed him silently. The valve, as I'd warned, was frozen solid. Damn. The contractor tried, turning it unsuccessfully. Tap it with a hammer through a wood block. Twice, no more. He tapped, the valve gave. The contractor looked at me carefully, understanding dawning that on Saturday evening there was a bang, so loud the walls shook. A pipe burst somewhere upstairs, water gushing. Reflexively, I grabbed towels, already moving toward the stairs, that I stopped halfway, turned around, and called Lily. Main shutoff in the utility closet behind the paint cans. Tapped twice with a hammer and would block. Upstairs, screaming and panic began. Mom wailed, "Oh God, what do we do?" Dad yelled, "Where is that closet?" Tyler tried to take charge. "Everyone calm down, I'll find it." I stood at my door, listening to the chaos overhead. Then silence came, interrupted by crying. Footsteps on the stairs, slow, heavy. "Nick!" Dad's voice was quiet, almost pleading. "Help us, son." I went upstairs without a word. Disaster zone. The contractor stood on a ladder with a flashlight. Lily sat with mascara running down her face. Tyler, in a soaked polo, tried to mop up water with dish towels. I knew this would happen. Lily breathed out hopelessly. I warned you. I nodded calmly. Warned you a week ago. A month ago. A year ago. Tyler aggressively jabbed his finger at the inspector's citation. There's nothing about pipes in here. Dad sat silently on a step, staring at the floor like a man who'd just realized something important, that I helped carry the wettest things outside. Save the photo albums from water. Not out of spite, but basic decency. Monday morning, Lily sent a long text. Can you supervise the repairs? You know all the contractors. I'll pay you $1,500. I sent her contacts for 3 plumbers I trusted, added in a separate text. If you need supervision and consulting, $150 per hour, invoiced weekly. Instant reply. Are you serious right now? Silence from me. An hour later, she caved. Fine. Max 10 hours per month. I called Jim, an old friend in the trade I trusted. Told him to invoice the clients directly. Jim came the next day, examined the upper unit, and whistled low. Who told you this was safe to live in? This is a lawsuit waiting to happen. He quoted $3,500 for the work. Lily started negotiating down. He silently packed his tools and headed for the door. She paid on the spot. Thursday, the upper unit looked like a war zone. Lily sat on the stairs with a tissue pressed to red eyes. Mom hovered nearby with tea. Dad looked at me like I was a riddle he couldn't solve. And I felt light, as if a crushing weight had lifted and disappeared that I packed methodically. Labeled boxes carefully. Owner, contents room. On one paper, I found old IOUs from my sister. Tore it in half. Then, for some reason, taped it back together. Thought more, and still threw it away forever. Done holding on to this. The building inspector came again to verify compliance. The exhaust still vented into the attic unchanged. I'm extending the deadline 1 month. Next time it's a fine directly to the property owner. Maximum penalty, he said officially. Lily glared at me like I'd personally called him. That evening, Dad caught me at the entrance. Don't be stupid, son. We can work this out. I am working things out, I replied calmly. And there's nothing stupid about it. So that's it. Just write us if you need something. I interrupted and kept walking. Mom left a voicemail that evening. Honey, what are you doing? Come over for a real meal at least. I made pot roast, your favorite. I texted briefly. I'll come Sunday. But no talk about money. She replied almost immediately. Okay, sweetheart, see you then. Sunday was quiet. Pot roast on the table, mashed potatoes, green beans. We lasted exactly 30 minutes of normal conversation. Then Dad started the old tune about family helping each other. I got up from the table mid-meal. Thanks for dinner. It was really good. Dad turned red from what he didn't say, but stayed silent. Walking back to the studio, I thought about the house. About that house I once considered mine by right. July 30th, I carried out the last box, snapped a photo. Evening light fell across the hardwood floors. I'd refinish myself. Lily stood on the porch, looking exhausted and older. So that's it? You're really just leaving? Leaving, I confirmed. I thought you'd fight to the bitter end. Make a huge scene, she admitted. I did fight, I nodded. Just not the way you expected. The studio felt cramped after the duplex. The electric stove clicked loudly when turned on. The neighbor through the wall played classic rock from morning to night. Not ideal, but livable. I bought a simple desk and positioned it by the window for the best light. Why routine became different, new. Wake at 7 o'clock sharp. Walk downstairs to the coffee shop on the ground floor. The barista Nina, friendly and middle-aged, already knows my order. Grande latte, 2 sugars, Nick. I nod, take the cup, drive to the hospital. And evenings, just evenings, mine. I don't fix anything, don't rush anywhere on emergency calls, don't solve other people's crises. Strange at first, but I'm getting to like it. I counted calls from family at first, per day, per week. Then stopped bothering. Mom sent food photos with captions. Made your favorite chicken and dumplings. I replied with a thumbs up emoji. To text like, can you loan me money urgently? I replied with silence. Money became simple and clear. Earned, spent on essentials, save the rest. $300 a week went into savings. Not much, but it was mine. Lily sent a photo once of the renovated upper unit. Finally finished. Listing it for rent soon. I replied neutrally. Looks good. Happy for you. Liked it and moved on. Stopped caring completely. Dad never apologized, not once. Texted only once, briefly. We did what we thought was right for the family. I replied the same way. I understand. Now I'm doing what's right for me. Since then, silence between us. Not hostile, just empty. Closing a painful chapter doesn't mean dramatic scenes and door slamming. It just means stopping trying to force open a door that's meant to stay closed. What do I have now? My own life. I learned one simple thing. I'm not obligated to be the foundation for other people's dreams and schemes. I could just be myself, an ordinary guy, live quietly and steadily, pay my own way. Not that I should have learned this back then, at 9, when Dad said about pulling your weight. My name is Nick. I'm 31 years old. I'm living my life, not carrying anyone else's anymore.